Good morning and welcome to This Girl is on Fire. I'm Kathy Connor, your host. I'm super excited to be here today. We have an amazing go-getter that is going to be joining us. Before I bring her on, I just want to tell you all what Go-Getter Girls Network, now I'll tell you about Go-Getter Girls Network later, but this is This Girl's on Fire. So what This Girl is on Fire, it's a dynamic podcast platform that celebrates the incredible journeys of ambitious women in business with a dedication to showcasing the Go-Getter Girls Network members. The podcast illuminates their path to success, highlights the hurdles they've overcome, stereotypes they've shattered, and the remarkable achievements they've attained. Each episode is a testament to the resilience, determination, and innovation of these inspiring women, offering invaluable insights and inspiration to the listeners seeking to carve their own path in the world of business and beyond. If you are just tuning in, please add a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question, please make sure you add those questions to the comments and we'll make sure we get those questions answered. So without further ado, we are going to bring on the one, the only Denise VanNoy. Welcome to the show, Denise.
Good morning.
Good morning. So let's dive right into it. Tell us a little bit about you, your business, your hobbies. Inquiring minds want to know.
So my journey is interesting, I think, because I came from the medical field. So I started out in radiology, and people say to me, well, how in the world did you get to bookkeeping from radiology? Well, I've always had a passion for helping people, and I like technology. So radiology was a perfect fit. I did it for over 25 years, and I absolutely loved it. I loved caring for my clients. I loved all the new technology in the medical field over the years, but I always wanted to own my own business. Don't know why. Nobody in my family did, but somehow I got bit by that bug as a young woman, and I just always wanted to do that. But the question was always, how in the world do you start your own business when your background is radiology? It's not like I'm going to have my own center, although I did have some ideas on that. But I was never really able to come up with something. And I learned one time on a webinar, seminar, and they said, what are you good at? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm good at. We don't know what we're good at, right? And so it said, well, what do people at your job tell you that you're good at? And I said, well, attention to detail and organization and patient care. Great. What do I do with that? Right? So this was just a really long journey over many years. I did what I was told. Go to school, you get a college degree, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you go into debt, you get a divorce. Anyway, I did all that, right? So second marriage is very different. And now I have a support of a husband, good husband. And so I decided to get back on the horse and figure out what can I do? And I came across bookkeeping, literally an aha moment. They said, if you're detail oriented and organized, this is perfect for you. I said, oh, this is me. This is great. This is what I've been looking for. So I always say, what do you think my next question was? People say, well, how much money can I make? No, my next question was, what in the world does a bookkeeper do? Because I had no idea. So I just completely thrust myself into the bookkeeping world and got certified and went through all this training and knew just right from the start it was right for me. And then made that mind shift change, which really made a difference of caring for my patients to caring for my clients. And once I made that mind shift change, my business just took off. So that is how you get from radiology to bookkeeping.
I love that. And what a difference. I mean, you're in the medical field and then jump from the medical field to, I don't think I knew that. Mm-hmm. But that's remarkable. And you're right. You do have to have, I am not a numbers person. So my hat's off to you, Denise, because math was never my strong point. That was not anything that were you good at math in college?
It's funny. No, I was good at English. English was my strong suit. I like to write. I wrote for the school paper. I still like to write. I should get back into that someday. But no, behind the scenes, you have software. You don't really have to be good at math. And you have to understand debits and credits. You have to be understand the concepts, which is a lot of people don't understand that. But I don't really consider that math. But I was a good student overall. But I English was definitely my strong suit.
I love that. Let's talk about why knowing your numbers are important.
Well, when you understand your numbers, it's really important because that's where the magic is. in your business, because if you don't know your numbers, you're just basically walking around blindly, like without a map. Like if you don't have a map, how do you get to where you're going? So think of it as understanding your numbers, of having that map and being able to make those smart decisions, and knowing your numbers and spotting problems and planning for growth and avoiding nasty surprises at tax time, right? And also, if you're organized and you unfortunately do get audited and you have all your information organized, your audit is going to go in your favor. And you can scale your business with confidence because you know your numbers. So it's more than just being prepared for taxes. It's those informed decisions that are truly game changing for any business.
Right. So, what is your advice to a company that is using other means besides bookkeeping, and maybe it's a mess? And can you dive a little bit more deeper into what a bookkeeper does and how they help companies stay organized? And it's much more easier when you have a bookkeeper with the proper spreadsheets to file your taxes, and everything is there's an accounting, because I know you and I had discussed that in great detail
Yeah.
regarding.
Well, first of all, this business should just hire me, and
Yes.
but really, I mean, having a professional do it's like really with anything else. I mean, you're in really good hands if you have the bookkeeper, and you don't have to worry about it. So you can focus on your customers or your clients and focus on other areas. But consistency is really key. You really need to keep up with it. You can't wait until the end of the year to throw all this stuff together. And you think, yeah, I'll remember what that was for. No, you won't. You won't even remember what that was for last week. I guarantee you. I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. Like, you're not going to remember these things. So the consistency of keeping track, using the right tools, but understanding how things should be done in the accounting world is really where the professional comes in. Like yes, you can do a lot of it yourself, but are you doing it right? Probably not, unfortunately, but something certainly is better than nothing. But having a bookkeeper, keep track of it, being in your books on a regular basis. I find a lot of errors, a lot of errors from the banks. I mean, banks make mistakes, those errors are found and corrected. There's an enormous amount of fraud, as we all know. That's something that is caught. And, like fraud, sometimes there's deadlines to respond to that fraud, to dispute that fraud. So I'll catch it. Kathy, you had 5 transactions at Wawa yesterday for $50 each. That's probably fraud, right?
Right.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I wouldn't have seen that for 6 months. Well, no, you need to get on this right now and get that, disputed. There's just a lot of things. Having somebody in it on a regular basis, more so that you can, but not only that, somebody that has that keen eye to that detail to know what to look for, and just to prevent those areas, again, that can save you in tax time for sure, and save you in an audit as well.
Right. Right. That's excellent advice. And I know you and I also talked about using your business card for personal, your credit card, using your
Oh, that's
business
such
credit card for personal reasons.
a big pet peeve. I mean, yeah, like tip number one, like we did at the Go Getter Girls talk, was don't commingle. And commingle is just that. It's mixing business and personal. I mean, step number one, when I talk to anybody, when I do consulting for startups and young businesses, step number one, we are creating a business checking account and a business credit card. You want to keep these separate. It protects your personal as well as your business. That this is why we form an LLC. So if you were to get sued, it sues the LLC. If you don't have an LLC and you have everything commingled, your personal finances can be at jeopardy. So you want to be really careful to keep everything separate. And it's also an IRS red flag, and none of us want to be flagged by the IRS. We certainly don't want an audit. So one of the things that we do with my company is we make sure that you are compliant, and that we make sure that we remove any of those red flags to hopefully prevent. I mean, audits, you can get audited, but let's be prepared. Let's be proactive. Let's make sure that we don't have any of those red flags, and that commingling is really bad. I had a client, this is crazy. She has Amazon and she's hours combing through Amazon. Is this my expense? Is this my kid? Is this my husband? Is this my business? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, let's just keep this separate and never do this again. right? It's crazy.
Deb, so happy that you're joining in.
Hi, Deb.
Love it. Excellent advice, Denise. I know you probably have a ton of tips. I know you had like 5 tips for bookkeeping, and I'm going to let you go through all that because I think this is such an important topic for business owners to know exactly how to properly handle their books. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Well, we talked on several of them. The
Yeah.
commingling, number one. I also talked about being consistent, which is really important. You can do that on your own. The bookkeeper is really going to help you with that. I personally, what I do is because I know as a small business, I am a small business, so I understand how hard it is to get everything done. I actually, what I do is I have admin day. So Friday morning, unless there's a family emergency, admin day is Friday morning. So anything that is not client work needs to be handled Friday morning. So I have to do my own books, right? So whose books gets neglected? Mine a lot because I'm taking care of everybody else. So I make sure that I'm doing all those things. So my advice is to set aside some time to be consistent with your bookkeeping. Use tools, use software. There's QuickBooks, there's Wave that's free, there's Xero. At bare minimum, use spreadsheets. I think that's a nightmare, but that is better than nothing at all. But having software, having that automation will save you a lot of time. If you have software like QuickBooks and Xero where you can connect, and even Wave where you can connect your bank and your credit card, that's going to save you a lot of time because your transactions are coming in. It saves you on manual entry, saves on errors. You want to be tracking all these expenses. So go getter girls, when you're going out for coffee, that's a business expense. So keep that receipt, record that as an expense. And there's a lot of ways you can automate that. You can take a picture on your phone. There's systems where QuickBooks, you could take a picture and it goes right into your QuickBooks automatically from the app on your phone. So just keep all of those receipts because that can make a difference at tax time. We want to keep that tax bill down. You're taxed on your income, but it's offset by your expenses. So let's make sure we're recording every expense that we can. Track your mileage too. Mileage, you get tax deductions for your mileage. So it's either mileage or gas. You have to pick one and stay in the lane, no pun intended. I track mileage. I use Mile IQ on my phone. It's literally swipe right for business, left for personal. And you can also break that down into medical because medical, charity, and moving are also tax deductible miles, not just business. So you get a report at the end of the year, give it to your tax preparer, and get those extra tax deductions for that. And really, the last tip is really hire before you think you need to for somebody. If you're just starting out and you're really young, then go through my consulting program that I offer. Sit with me and let me get you started. Let's create habits now that will lead to long-term success. But if you're already established business, let's get your bookkeeping set up and get you going so that you're ready for tax season and you're making those informed decisions.
I love that. So let's talk about, do you have your coaching set up for the small businesses? I know we discussed that a while back.
Yeah, I don't really call it coaching because I don't want to, because I'm not really a coach. So what I'm doing is when I come across businesses that are, like I said, young and just starting out, I can't afford even quarterly. Most businesses, I can work with them and afford them to do it quarterly, which is less money than monthly. But those that can't afford that, then I help them with some resources, just with some guidance. A lot of things we're talking about here, but actually helping them to implement them and get them started, get them to where they're built up enough where they can come back to me and I can do it for them quarterly. So it's sort of like the pre-quarterly bookkeeping. But, it's like, how can I help them? So, it's still a work in progress. I know we talked about it. But it's definitely there I can still help. The knowledge is there and it'll just grow in time and how much I can help in that area.
I love that. I love that you're giving back in that way. There's so many people that definitely need that direction. All right. So I have another question. What about those that just throw their receipts in a big folder at the end of the year? They have 500 receipts. what is your advice for someone that does that? That's probably most of us, right? I mean,
Well, number one,
be
please do
real.
not bring it to me.
No.
I do not want it. I will not accept shoeboxes full of receipts. What I suggest you do, if you have a child, have them scan them in for you because they're way better with that stuff than we are. That's one thing you can do. But really, the simplest way, in all fairness, is just file it. File your receipts in a system that works for you. That's with anything with your business. Systems. If you have a system for it, it will get done and you will be less stressed. So have a system for your filing, whether it's monthly, whether it's by vendor, it doesn't matter. You want to have the receipts filed where you can file them. So if you ever do have to sit for an audit and the auditor asks you for a receipt and you can find it relatively quickly, that specific receipt, your audit will go much better in your favor. If you bring out a shoebox full of receipts to an auditor, I can guarantee you your audit will not go in your favor. And if you cannot produce a receipt for the auditor, they will not allow you to have that as a business expense, I should say. And you also run the risk of them saying, you know what? I don't think any of your business expenses are legitimate and you can't claim any of them. That can happen. So having those
have a
receipts,
receipt?
yes, they can just,
Oh,
so you want to sit in the best position
right.
when you go for an audit. So having the receipts organized ahead of time, you're already ahead, and write on your receipts. You'll want to, if you have a meal with a client, you'll want to put the client's name and what you talked about. You'll want to just write on those receipts so that you have them, because meals can be tricky because we have meals with clients, we have networking meals, we have one-on-one meals. So just write on your receipts so it's really clear what that one was for if there's ever a question. And if you're my client, we talk about that and we split out your meals. So at tax time, your tax preparer is well equipped to put it on your taxes correctly for you so you get the maximum tax deductions, because every level of meals is a different tax deduction and it changes every year, of course.
Oh,
So
wow. I did not
there's
know
that. It always changes.
So we have a question. Deb has a question. Will your credit card statement suffice as a receipt? Great question.
No.
Okay. And then she
Absolutely
has
not.
Amex.
They will not. I know Amex itemizes, and that's great. But according to an auditor, that an auditor says no. They say you need to have the receipts.
Okay. So the credit card statement will not suffice. Your banking statement. What about your banking statement? Same thing? You have to have the physical receipt.
You need to have the receipts. So you can have them electronically, like your Amazons. I put them in a folder, but I also send them to my QuickBooks. Electronically, you can send receipts to your QuickBooks online account. I also scan mine on my phone and send them to my QuickBooks. So I keep paper and then I have the ones on the computer. So I know where they are. I can get to them easily. Ideally, you should be attaching the receipts to your transactions if you have software, but that can be cumbersome. I do that probably 95% of the time,
For your
but have your receipts. Yeah. Well, I don't do it for my clients. Usually I teach them to manage their receipts. I can do receipt management. It's a lot of work to manage somebody else's receipts. That's an add-on service. So it's an extra charge to do that because of the time involved, but I can.
Awesome. Oh, look at this.
Oh, great. Looking forward to meeting you, Debbie.
Awesome. Deb's a go-getter as well.
Excellent. I love working with the go-getters.
Fantastic. I love it. So I do have to ask you, I know that you mentioned scanning the receipt. Is that part of QuickBooks?
Well, QuickBooks has an app. So if you have a QuickBooks online online account, you can put the app on your phone with that same login, and you can take a picture on the app and the receipt will go into your QuickBooks online account.
Okay, perfect.
And it tries to match it to the expense when it comes in from the bank or the credit card.
Right.
It doesn't always, anyway, I won't go there, but it doesn't always do it. So you still have to kind of match it in QuickBooks, but at least you get it in there and you have it. It goes into a folder, like a file in QuickBooks, and then you can match them from there.
Fantastic. All right. I see these go-getters popping in. Hello, Kat. Hello,
Kat.
Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
All right. This is such great information. any other advice or recommendations you can give to the viewers regarding bookkeeping?
I think that you want to think of your bookkeeper as a team member
Hmm.
and not to think of bookkeeping as, oh my gosh, this is just another expense I have to make for my business. I'd like you to think of it as an investment in your business, as that additional team member that is going to help your business grow, that's going to keep you organized, that's going to give you the clarity that you need. And it's really going to make things a lot easier for you in a lot of ways, like we talked about. And really just understanding that bookkeeping isn't just get me ready for taxes. That's my whole mission, is like understanding that there's more to it. Having that peace of mind and that clarity is really important to have. It's more than just taxes. Taxes are important. Unfortunately, we all have to pay them, but let's pay the least amount that we have to, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any listening. Well, let's cut that tax bill as much as we can and keep that money in our pockets.
Absolutely. We all love that. So
Mm.
let's shift real quick, Denise. What do you do for fun? What are your hobbies?
Bookkeeping. No, I enjoy yoga. My yoga instructor, Kat's here, so I could just put a shout out to her. But I love that. I love everything holistic. So I love going to Zen medicine. But I enjoy nature walks with my husband. We like to walk on the beach. We live 10 minutes from the beach. That's my dream, is always to live on the beach. So every time I move, I get a little bit closer to the beach. So now just 10 minutes. So I like to read. I always read, do a lot of mindset training, a lot of books on mindset. I like to always be improving that. I think mindset is key to our success and key to our happiness, right? If your mind isn't straight, then nothing else is going to work for you. And I like to travel. I like to travel with my husband. We're going in June, and we're going to go on a murder mystery train. I'm so excited. I can't wait, because I love that kind of stuff, like that Agatha Christie, who done it kind of thing.
Is
So
it in the Fort
yeah,
Myers area?
yes, it's the one in
I've been
Fort
on that
Myers.
train. You're going to love it. It's so much
Oh,
fun.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to do it. I thought it would be a fun anniversary um, trip.
Yeah.
We'll just take a couple of days over there and do that. So we like to travel. We like museums and history, and those kinds of, it's just spending time together. It really doesn't matter where we go. We just like to go and do things together.
As long as you're
Enjoy each
together.
other.
That's
Yeah, as
true.
long as we're together. It doesn't matter where we go.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
So, what advice do you have for someone, our viewers, if they're interested in getting into the bookkeeping field, and then also share what obstacles you overcame in getting to where you are today? How did you overcome those obstacles, and what advice do you have for someone who's looking to get into bookkeeping?
So if you're looking into getting into bookkeeping, hands down, to go through the program, bookkeepers, okay, they changed the name, so forgive me. When I went through it as Bookkeeper Business Launch, BBL, but they had to change the name because somebody else had the same initials. I won't tell you what that was. It's kind of funny story. We'll tell you off here. Anyway, so it's bookkeepers.com now, I think. But if anybody's interested, I will give you an affiliate link to get you right to the program. Hands down, the absolutely best program out there for bookkeeping that there is, because not only does it teach you bookkeeping, it doesn't just teach you software like how to use QuickBooks. It actually teaches you accounting and understanding, like we talked about, the debits and credits, but it also teaches you how to start a business and run a business. And then you said that the secret to my success came from that program, because
Huh?
in that program, they taught you about mindset. And I never, in corporate America, you weren't allowed to have a mind. No offense to anyone that's in corporate, but in the corporate world I was in, you weren't allowed to have a brain. You weren't allowed to have an opinion. So mindset was something I didn't know what that was. And the first book that the founder of this program, Ben Robinson, gave was, it's hard to say, feel the fear and do it anyway. And if you haven't read it, it's a great book, and it's just a great affirmation, you know. And there's another one, Everything is Figure Outable by Marie Forleo.
Hmm.
Everything is figure outable,
Yes.
right? So they're great books, but it's reading books, it's webinars. It's also the support network that they have. It's a Facebook group. It's international. There's 15,000 of us in it now. If I need help with bookkeeping, I've got my bookkeeping tribe. And that leads me to another reason for success is my tribe, is my bookkeeping tribe, now my go-getter girls tribe. It's where I fill my cup. It's where the girls provide me support, empower me, and I do the same for them. And great friendships have come out of it, alliances, collaborations, just everything. But tribe is everything, but mindset first, because you won't be open to those relationships if you haven't worked on yourself first. So
You're right.
those really, and then work-life balance. Work-life balance is another part of the success. You have to have the work-life balance. And I talk with my clients about that a lot too, where the bookkeeping helps with that, because most companies are doing their bookkeeping in the evenings and weekends instead of spending it with their families.
Right. No, great advice. I 100% agree with everything you just said. You have to be in the right tribe and you have to sit at the right tables. If you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting at a table where they're just talking about people and not talking about ideas and how to grow and how to have growth for success, both personally and professionally, then you need to sit at a different table. So you're absolutely 100% correct. And I love, love, love that advice. All right. So we have a couple comments. I want to make sure that we get those on screen. Consider insurance policy needed. Deb's right. Yeah, that's
Oh,
actually.
I love that, Deb. Oh, I might even steal that from you. I like that. I say investment versus an expense, Sounds a little cliche, but I
And
like that.
Kat,
Insurance.
yes, women supporting women, 100%. Love it. Love it.
Mhm.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
All right.
Tribe is
So,
everything, really.
no, it absolutely is. How can someone get in touch with you regarding the program that you have? I have your information. I'm going to put it on screen, but first what is the process to get in touch with you regarding the program that you're offering for small business owners, just to kind of teach them and steer them in the right direction?
So you can get on my calendar off of my website at ShoreCents.com, or you can email me and we can set up, it'll be a consultation, because the consultation will determine what's the best course of action for your business. So email is Denise at ShoreCents.com on the screen.
Okay,
The
awesome.
website is up. It is brand new. It is
Yay.
still, I'm still updating it, but it is up, so you can go to the website, because that's how Deb, because I could see on my email that Deb got on my calendar through my website. So at least I know that's working. Thanks, Deb. So the website will update, but it is up now. So I'm excited to make some further changes to it, spice it up a little bit.
Fantastic. All right. For those of you tuning in, this is how you get in touch with Denise. Make sure you take a screenshot so that you can save it. You have it. It's Denise at ShoreCents.com. She just mentioned her website is up and running if you want to schedule a meeting with Denise to go over your bookkeeping needs. Also, follow Denise on social media. So we have Denise on Instagram at VanNoy Denise, Facebook ShoreCents Bookkeeping LLC, and Denise VanNoy, LinkedIn, she is Denise VanNoy. So take a screenshot, make sure you follow Denise. I know she's giving tips and has a lot of information on her social media pages that might be instrumental in your bookkeeping needs. So Denise, I'm going to put you backstage. I'm going to wrap up the show and then I'll be right with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. How amazing. I just love, love, love having our go-getters on the show, This Girl's on Fire, always providing such valuable information. I hope today, the viewers, if you're watching this or you're watching the replay or you're on the live, you took away some great nuggets to help you in your business, help you get organized. If you need a bookkeeper, which is obviously highly recommended, if you have a business where you do a lot of transactions, Denise is definitely a go-to. Make sure you reach out to Denise if you have any questions. And with that, keep that fire burning. Until next time.